Good luck.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Addicts podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I am your host, Brando. Joining me here today, once again, as player 2, is my buddy, Tyler.
Hey, dude. I'm back again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you are back again. And you know, we actually had a plan, and I threw that plan completely out the window. We were going to talk about Metal Gear, and that was it today. But there was just so much stuff to talk about, and we've sort of I've decided to shift the release schedule to every other week for the time being until we can get back into the full groove of things. And a lot of stuff's been going down. A lot of stuff's been happening. E3's right around the corner. A lot of rumors and innuendo. And then also we had the release of a really big game for the PS4 and God of War, which I actually did end up purchasing.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so guys, and to be fair, you did too.
I got the game. You went way above what I did. You got something that I really wanted.
Well, okay. So guys, I don't know if I said it in the last episode. I've been having issues with my PS4 wanting to turn on. That's a problem. And mine's a launch model. I got it on the launch night. I told the story here before. And we would have it off. You would go up there. You would either hit the button on the controller, or you would, the original launch models were touch. You go back there, you use a button. It's like you rub your finger on it, and it would beep, flash blue, off, and then it wouldn't respond. It'd be dead. So you'd have to unplug it, wait, plug it back in, try it again, and literally Walking Dead finale night, we were going to watch it on View, and spent 40 minutes messing with that thing, trying to get it turned on. Finally, it turned on, booted up. It checked the memory because it was shut down wrong. I'm like, what has been going on with this thing? And since we have a kid, we watch Netflix and movies all day on that damn thing.
Right.
So it's been getting more use than the PS3 did when I had it. I didn't have a kid. I use it a lot, but also it wasn't going all day. So I was like thinking to myself, well, I need to get a new PS4 at some point, but the PS5 is coming out. Can it hold out? And then I moved the PS3 back there, and it worked for a while. It still plays stuff fine, but its internet connection is shit. And even when it's plugged in, dude, I was getting at max 10 to 11 when it's hardlined.
That sucks.
And when my download goes up to 80. Yeah, I've had my download over 100 once. I was like, whoa! I'm like, is that? No, it's not KB. It's MB. All right. I'm just double checking. But no, I was getting, at lowest, I got like a 1, and HBO wouldn't play.
That's always really frustrating when you test the internet connection, especially on my PlayStation. I've also have a launch model, and I've had some of the same issues that you have. I'm in that Type 2 NAT restriction that even though I shouldn't have a restricted NAT, my PlayStation has somehow hard locked itself into Type 2 NAT connection. So every now and then, even if I pay for 200 internet, so I'm getting fucking 200 megs, and I'll speed test my shit and it's fine, and then I'll test it on the PlayStation and it's like 30.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What's going on here, So believe me, I understand. I've had a lot of the same issues with my launch model as well.
But like on my PS4, hardlined, it's no problem. But on the PS3, I when it can't play HBO, that's Sesame Street.
Right.
Kids ask for Sesame Street, and I can't play Sesame Street. Trying to load up like YouTube, it wouldn't load up thumbnails.
Really?
Yeah, it would play the videos fine, but it wouldn't load up thumbnails. Trying to watch the WWE Network, there's a podcast I listen to has a video version that's on there. They're a third party. They were able to get their show on there. It's like, wow, that's awesome. So I watched the first episode when it came out, and I wanted to watch the second one. With the way that network works when it's streaming, when it buffers into a higher or lower resolution, it will actually go back like 10 seconds.
So you don't lose any of the stuff while it's buffering?
Yes. So that's just in case. So imagine trying to watch this in the first 5 minutes, and every minute or 30 seconds, it keeps... I feel like I'm taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back here to watch this damn thing. I'm
right.
Getting, and I got tired of it, and I still haven't watched it. But I got home on Thursday night last week, and so she's like, "Yeah, I can't watch HBO," and so we've just been watching like Blu-rays all day. And she goes, "Even the Blu-rays aren't wanting to load. Like they're taking forever." And I'm just like, old girl's on her last legs, man. I'm gonna have to get a new PS3 to play my collection here soon. Hope, because like when I play it, I don't play it very often anymore. It's very random, but usually it's like it's good enough to play. But like I'm like sitting there, I'm thinking about getting a new PS4. I don't really want it to pay for it right now. And then she goes, well, we end up she's pretty much begrudgingly telling me I can get one maybe. So I start looking at it, and the 500 gigabyte PS4s are like $260 something, maybe $270. I can't remember. But the 1 terabytes were like $350 almost. It was like, man, more than what I thought. All right, because at Walmart they were like $350, $360. And a Pro is $400, and I'm like, if I'm gonna get a new one, I'm getting a terabyte of hard drive space because I'm already struggling with my launch model. It's full.
You never upgraded it?
No, I never upgraded it. I was going to like the last 2 tax misses, and I just didn't. I ran out of
the
funding.
First year that I had mine, as soon as I was dicking around on Amazon one day, and I saw one of the kits that people were putting together, where it came with the screwdriver, the particular screwdriver size that you need, and a nice Samsung terabyte hard drive and everything. Well, looks like this is what I'm buying. It was only like $100, barely more than the hard drive cost. So
yeah,
that was something that I did almost immediately.
Yeah, I never did it, and it wasn't a problem for a while, and then it became a problem. You know, when you have a game the size of like Metal Gear and GTA 5, you're going to be kind of surprised by the size of my biggest game on there, WWE 2K17. But it's because of all the creation components. You can go online and download other people's creations, their guys, their arenas. You can do custom images uploaded, so people will upload their own custom images. You can do your own stuff. There was this computer booking game that I played where I made my own company. So I went into Photoshop and made my own logos and did all this stuff. So I decided to make physical versions of that stuff in that game. So I went to my own logos, got all them remade, put them into the game so I can start making my arenas and what that would look like up here in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I went hog wild. So there's a reason why the space got so overdone on that. But I'm like, yeah, if I'm going like to the point where I'm only going to be spending $40 more to get I'm just going to get a Pro at that point. You know, when I do get a 4K TV, I'll be ready. And then even they say it enhances already 1080p.
It definitely does upscale it.
So it's like cool. And I just looked on Walmart.com, and they had the God of War bundle, and they said it was available. I'm like, well, if I'm buying one anyway, I get the game for free, and I get a custom looking system.
Mm-hmm.
Went out there, they had it, got it. So here I'm walking out, going. So yeah, I just did a thing that was not planned today. That is the first time I've ever went out and on a whim and did that. I've always sort of planned it out when I'm going to buy a new console or anything like that. So yeah, no, I got the system, I got the game. I had some issues with the system, guys, though. I had tried to get everything transferred over, and I realized that was going to take me 9 hours, so I canceled it. And then I just did my game saves and like my themes and stuff like that. got that over, man. And then I moved it out, and then I couldn't get the damn thing. It said it cannot start PS4. Reinstall the update. So I went and downloaded the update, did follow the directions, didn't work. And then I was able to boot it in safe mode, re-download it through that way. Didn't work. I had to wipe it and start all over again. Thankfully, though, I have PS Plus, and it automatically uploads my game saves to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to do it that way, and seems to be running fine now. But I only got to play like a half hour to 40 minutes of the game. So you played more of it than I have.
I've played probably, as of today, I'll say 8 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
I told Blaine yesterday that when I picked the game up yesterday afternoon after work, that by Sunday or by Monday morning, I would have eclipsed him in total game time. And as Dr. Malcolm said in Jurassic Park, life always finds a way. In this case, it found a way to get in the way of me playing God of War. Not entirely terrible. You know, I got to see Infinity War this morning, so definitely not a bad decision there. But I'm really digging it. It's, you know, almost immediately you see why so many services are giving this 10 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. It definitely does have some flaws, I've noticed pretty much right out of the gate, but none of it gets in the way of you know, just going full bore into the experience. Because we're getting to the point now, and I've complained about this to some of the younger guys that we work with, and they're like, my issue right now with the gaming industry is battle royale games.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is battle royale, microtransactions. And they're like, you know, Cameron specifically, he's like, well, that's just what people want to play right now, because people are so disgruntled by all the big game companies not basically following through on their word and pumping out unfinished games that are shit. And I don't disagree with him entirely there. But what it seems like to me is we're pumping out battle royale games that cost very little money to make and then are full of microtransactions, so they maximize their profit when they have hardly any investment.
Yeah.
And I want games like Mass Effect, The Witcher 3, The Last of Us, Uncharted. I want games that immerse me in it. I don't necessarily need an entire galaxy to explore. I'm looking at you, Mass Effect Andromeda. Give me some story and justify me spending $60+ on a video game. And God of War is doing it.
The game is beautiful.
It absolutely is beautiful.
From the get-go. It's a gorgeous game. I'm loving you get a different sense from you know, and I mean, this is I'm talking 40 minutes I played this game. I haven't played very much, but you get a sense immediately for where this character is at, and just it's not the Kratos yelling, you know, he's very quiet, you know, talking to the kid, trying to teach this kid, trying to teach him how to survive, you know, and so immediately, I mean, much less that. Okay, I'm much more into the thematic of Norse mythology than I am, you know, of the prior. So it's like awesome, right up my alley. So I mean, originally I was just gonna wait to get this for holiday season when, you know, I go for my Christmas, pick up a few games. This was gonna be one of them. Now it just happened to work out to where I get to play it, and I'm very excited to play more. And tomorrow, I don't have to do much because all I got to do, because I'm doing all my podcasting stuff tonight. Today's my busy day. You know, we just went and talked for 2 hours about Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
And
we probably could have kept going if we wanted to.
Well, I had to rein it in. I actually, when we were going through and we were talking about stuff in the movie, I actually, a couple of the times, just said, yeah, this happened, and then try to move it along, because that was a segment, and I don't know how that episode is panned out, but please go check that out over on journeytocomics.com. Here, me and Tyler, we just go full bore, and we spent almost we didn't talk spoilers for 40 minutes. 40-minute mark. That's when we talk spoilers. Then we talk. I just told my wife. I went out there. I said, because we were gonna wait to eat until after we're done podcasting. I told her. I said, go eat. She goes, I'm not really hungry. I said, that was just Infinity War. She goes, I figured. I'm like, she goes, your review was almost as long as the movie. I'm like, and that's just our part.
Mm-hmm.
That's just our part of the movie. Oh my gosh. So yeah, guys, God of War is out. We're gonna be talking more about that probably next episode or whatever. I know that that you and Blaine plan on doing something. Whether or not that gets, I'm not sure if I'm gonna release that as, because this episode's gonna go up next week. If you guys record something, it may not go up. Maybe I'll throw it up as a bonus, and maybe there won't be another week. Maybe there will be cool, another one next week. So we'll figure that out, guys. Maybe get some extra big, longer God of War talk between you and Blaine here on the channel.
Cool.
If that's the case, I'll gladly step back while I'm playing it. I would love to be a part of that, but I don't know my podcasting plans for that day. That's up in the air at the moment.
Well, we don't necessarily need to do it Wednesday. I kind of wanted to wait a little bit and get a lot more game time, because Blaine and I have been talking about this game a lot, and obviously I've only had it for a little over 24 hours. But the phrase that we keep throwing back and forth is we're sucked in. I this morning my daughter woke me up very early. And
me too.
I got her to lay down for a nap, and my wife's still asleep. Okay, I'll go play God of War for like 45 minutes, and then we've got to be up to go to breakfast with my sister. And at that 45-minute mark, it's like, shit, I need to take a shower. 5 more minutes, okay. It's fully pulled me in. Yeah. So, and it's the same thing for Blaine.
My kid woke. Okay, let me rephrase that. My wife woke me up this morning at like 15 to 5, because he woke up crying, and she goes, "I might need I might need backup." So I pulled myself out of bed. She didn't need me. I cursed her because I was asleep, and then laying there trying to sleep, my mind was still breaking down the movie I just saw that night. Mm-hmm. Of course, Infinity War, and then I for a second. I looked at my phone. It was at like 5 after 5, and I'm like laying there with my eyes open, going, "I could go play God of War for like 4 hours before we have to get up to do anything." And I almost rolled out of bed. But then again, I didn't go to sleep until late last night. I'm like, I am still so fucking tired, and I'd like laid there. And just probably for another half hour was like bouncing back between like,
do I get up? Do I not?
Do I because I kept like, go to sleep. Okay, almost asleep. And then I would think about something else about Avengers, and then I would be like, okay, I'm getting up, and I'd be like, no, I'm tired. But eventually, I plan on playing tomorrow. Plan on playing some more. I'm definitely looking forward to it because I'm digging instantly. What I got was different but similar with the combat. It was like, man, this is still beat 'em up, but it's different. It feels different. I got a text message from another coworker of ours, Joe. Picked up God of War.
Did he really?
He got his PS4 today after talking about it for 3.5 years.
I didn't know he didn't have one. I didn't know he had plans of getting one.
He had been talking about it on and off since when he was still with his ex-wife. It's been that long. He finally pulled the trigger. I think he got a terabyte slim. He said they didn't have any 500 because I told him to go get a 500 and said that he doesn't need a terabyte because he's not a gamer. He's like, he likes to play a few things, maybe some baseball,
right?
And then basically he's like, I want to play Uncharted and God of War and baseball. I'm like, then you don't need a terabyte.
Well, especially now that you can use removable memory with PlayStation. When I got my launch model, that same. Wasn't an option. Exactly. That's why I upgraded the hard drive so quick. Yeah, I mean, if he needs more space, buy a $50 hard drive and plug it into the front of it.
He asked me if he needed a vertical stand for it, and then realized that, oh wait, I'm not gonna have it vertical. All right, cool.
That's Joe.
And then he said he's not getting the media remote, and then he sent me a picture about 5:30 where he's going to be starting God of War, or he was going to. I don't know if he was going to start it because he had a gig, but he is definitely going to be playing it at some point this weekend.
Well, that's cool. That'll be some more for us to kind of talk and throw ideas back and forth because we all like to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sony seemed to have hit it out of the park with this, and they have to be elated by this because God of War at this point was a series that, after 6 games, because you got the PSP stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the horse is like decrepit and like it is like literal fertilizer at this point. It's beyond dead. And that's no offense to those games, but it was the same style of game every time. So it's like, okay, cool, more of the story, bash, 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 move on, bash, 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 move on,
right.
Open, bash, 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 move on, open. You got enough souls to level up this thing. Okay, go on, but bash, bash, bash. Quick time event, big thing, more story, and then you... what was it? He yells. He yells at something, and then more. It was definitely repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was like, I'm gonna play them all at one point, and I got past the first game and went, I'm done for a while, because I started playing like I think I went the first game, and then I went to Chains of Olympus or something on the PSP, and I'm like, I like it, but man, it's just the same game again.
Does Santa Monica do anything else?
I want to say they have, but maybe not for a while.
Because I don't, off the top of my head, just real quick, I don't know of them doing anything else.
I'm looking at them right now. Wait. Games. Maybe it says Games Library. God of War, which is the newest one.
Mm-hmm.
A game called Here They Lie, Bound, Fat Princess Adventures. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh, okay. That's where it was familiar.
Did they do the Order 1886? I thought that was somebody else.
That's what I thought too.
Maybe they worked on it?
Could have.
Fat Princess, God of War Ascension, PlayStation All-Stars, Unfinished Swan, Sound Shape, Sorcery, Pixel Junk, Starhawk, Journey, Twisted Metal. Wait a minute. That's their website, but I don't know if they actually developed all those games. Let's go down. That was their website. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is always right.
Games developed. Connecticut was their first one on the PS2. War of the Monsters, Downhill Domination, God of War, The Con on PS Vita, Neopets, The Darkest Fairy, collaborated. Okay, all right, hold on. So we got different things here. Okay, so Connecticut is internally developed. War of the Monsters, Downhill Dominations, they co-developed, collaborated. Internally, God of War, Con, they co-developed. Neopets co-developed. Blast Factor co-developed. Flow incubated development with that game company. The hell does that mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting term. I've never heard that.
God of War internally, Calling All Cars, Coab. God of War Betrayal, mobile phone, was collaborated. Pixel Junk, developed by Q Games. So why are they even listed? Everyday Shooter, developed by Queasy Games. Warhawk, collaborated. Pixel Junk, developed by Q. Twisted Metal Head On was Co. Chains of Olympus was Co. because Ready at Dawn did that. Ready at Dawn are the ones that did the Order.
Okay.
So, all right. So going forward, a bunch of bunch of collaborations, bunch of God of War 3. Then going forward to the next internally, God of War Saga, God of War Ascension. Mainly God of War for what they are known for. They've done a few other things, but God of War was their hit.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like it's a really good thing for Sony that they went back to the drawing board with this and decided, what do we do? Because when you're looking at big time franchises for PlayStation, God of War has been among them, but it did get stale, you know. And so, like, well, what do we do? Do we do another one? Do we let this lie? Is it over? Has this thing ran its course? But they took a chance, and they got a team. They got some guys together, and they made what looks like to be a badass game that I cannot wait to just dive myself into.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my only pickup is the system in the game, and I mean, it looks badass. It looks pretty cool.
That's all I've got for pickups too. Well, not really, not necessarily. I told you a controversy not long ago about Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yes.
I purchased Dragon Age Inquisition at launch for the PlayStation 4.
Same.
Loved the game. Played through it multiple times, and then the DLC started coming out, and I didn't really want to pay $30+ for DLC, so I was going to wait until it was on sale and then revisit the game a year or two later when it wasn't so stale for me because I'd played it so much. And the DLC never really came down on price, and then just magically the Game of the Year edition was on sale on Xbox. And I had purchased an Xbox in that time, so I was like, hell yeah. You know, I logged into the Dragon Age Keep, and I, to my knowledge, I didn't have an Origin account tied to my gamer tag. And come to find out, my PlayStation and my Xbox were tied to different Origin accounts. And the Origin account that my Xbox was tied to is deactivated. Because the email address is from like 12 years ago and deactivated. And I cannot recover any of that information without that email address. And Origin customer service are a bunch of dickheads and will not work with you whatsoever.
No.
So after I purchased all of the game for $30 on Xbox, I played about halfway through it with the default world states and hated it because nothing was the way that I had worked towards. So I just quit playing it. And then 2 weeks ago, somebody told me that the Game of the Year edition was on sale for PlayStation for $12. So now,
hell of a deal.
$12, hell of a deal. I have now spent $78. I've now spent like $120 on Dragon Age Inquisition when I should have just bought the damn DLC to begin with.
For $30.
For $30. But no, I played through really quickly all 3 of the DLCs in succession. And if God of War wasn't out, I would probably be back to playing Inquisition again with a different world state. You know, I made on Thursday, I hadn't picked up God of War yet, so I made a new world state to start a new character to play as a Templar instead of a mage. I wanted to see, you know, something different, because in those games I've always played a mage, because I felt like it fit the story the best. And I spent an hour and 10 minutes on the Dragon Age Keep, getting my world state exactly how I wanted it, and now I'm playing God of War. So those are all I've got for pickups.
Yeah, man. I ended up not long ago, maybe like a few months ago, just picking up the DLC because it went up for sale, and I got it for super cheap. I want to say I bought, I think it was like $7 for just the DLC, and I got it, and I got like Undertale and I Am Bread for like $15.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Speaking of pickups, you guys can go out by the time you guys hear this and pick up the new free games for your Xboxes and PlayStations. We try to do this every single month where we let you know the games that you can go pick up. Sometimes if you're like me and you forget, This is one reason why I also do it. That way I remind myself to go do this. I have a PS Plus account. No longer have Live. I haven't had Live for quite some time because I rarely use my Xbox. But like, I'm not really an online gamer anyway. And honestly, for this Plus, for this year, I kind of let it relapse when I really don't need it. So I got another year. But the last couple of months, we got some really cool games, and for $60 a year so far in the last 3 months, with what was it, Bloodborne, Mad Max, and then what we got this month, it's almost at a retail price. I've paid for that $60.
Right.
This month on the PlayStation, we have Beyond Two Souls, which is the remastered version from the PS3. Of course, Beyond Two Souls came out along with Heavy Rain in the double pack. I think you can buy them separately on the network. This is why this is available for free. Of course, this is available for free because of the release of Detroit Becoming Human is releasing from the same studio. So a really good chance for people to play through this game. I really feel like this game is underrated. It's an awesome game for the adventure gameplay style. You kind of like are just kind of like watching the game go through and doing some quick time events, and a lot of people hated how disjointed the story was, but the remastered version allows you to play the story in chronological order. But a tidbit of a spoiler, the game is sort of shattered. My version of the story ended up where it made sense because her memories get wonky, and she's like writing them down, trying to piece together her past at the end of the game. So it's almost like at that point in the game, that's where you play the game, and that's why it's all disjointed, because it's bouncing around in her head trying to rebuild herself. So I liked that a lot, especially when it didn't really bother me jumping around. Like some people it did, but like I guess I'm just I'm kind of like a Pulp Fiction guy where like I can sort of like try to like, yes, you do have to do extra thought to try and figure out where it goes into the story, but I think it's a damn good title to be adding to it. And it's a damn shame that Heavy Rain's not with it, because both of them are worth a playthrough in my opinion. But the next game for PS4 is Rayman Legends.
I was actually excited to see that one.
Well, the wife loves this game. We own it twice. We have it on the Vita because she couldn't wait. She bought it digitally because she couldn't wait for me to get home from work and didn't want to leave. And this is before we had a kid. Yeah.
Nice.
But I want to say I have it for the original system. It was supposed to be an exclusive for on the Wii U. I went and bought it for that as well. So, yeah. If you don't have it, get it. It's one of the best 2D platforming games out for the system, bar none. PS3, Risen 3, Titan Lords, and eat them.
Eat me.
On the PS Vita cross-buy with PS4 and PS3, King Oddball, and just for the PS Vita, Furmans. Honestly, the last 4 games I know nothing about. Starting in March of next year, guys, just a heads up, we are no longer getting PS3 and Vita games. It's all going to be PS4. I feel like this is also kind of why we are starting to get bigger titles as free games on the PS Plus. Over on the Xbox side, we've got a pretty big one. This one was already available on PS Plus a few months ago, but Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Xbox is kind of wonky how they do theirs though. So from May 1st through the 31st, you have Super Mega Baseball 2. And then from May 16th through June 15th, you have Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
All right.
So those are your 2 Xbox One games, and then your 360 games from May 1st through the May 15th, you have the Sega Vintage Collection, Streets of Rage. So it's just Streets of Rage. And then from the 16th to the 31st, you have a game called Vanquish. And I don't know.
I remember that game.
Yeah, Vanquish was made by Platinum Games, and it is like a faster
Gears of War.
More stylish Gears of War. It's very fun, very underrated.
Yeah, I really liked it.
But definitely go check out both of those if you guys have either one of those. Snag up your free games. Getting the Phantom Pain for free, get it. You get it. As much as criticism as I can give that game, that's coming from a hardcore Metal Gear fan.
Mm-hmm.
That game is one of the best Metal Gear games, gameplay wise, I've ever played.
Well, even if it wasn't a Metal Gear game, and I won't go too far into it, but even if it wasn't a Metal Gear game, if it was just a kind of just actiony, little bit of stealth, the world and the gameplay is worth more than anything. It could be completely devoid of story, and I would still love the Phantom Pain, not Bane. Just because the gameplay and they did open world very well.
They did. The only thing that I disliked is that you would have like very similar like missions.
Right, yeah.
Like you'd have another mission that's in like the same area. And so like that's the one thing I didn't like about it. The other thing that I didn't like about it is that like it was kind of what we said earlier about being incomplete,
Mm-hmm.
and these AAA games getting released incompleted. This is one of them, and it was not necessarily all Kojima's faults. The Phantom Pain is a very mixed bag for me. IGN, I remember, gave it a 10. Yep. And gameplay wise, for 100%, yes, it's the best Metal Gear game you're ever gonna play. I have disagreements about how they gave you certain story in cassette tapes.
Yeah, I don't like any time. I love games that have lore, and I love games that have story. Mass Effect, for example, the Codex. You can spend hours queuing stuff up in the Codex, and it's almost like a book on tape.
Yeah.
Just letting the narrator read you the Codex. I don't mind that a bit.
I'll sit there with a snack and take a break and eat and listen to that.
But if I have to legitimately try and figure out what the hell is going on by finding cassette tapes that aren't always easy to find,
yeah,
that's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. Just give us the damn story.
Well, then you have like epilogue stuff after you beat the game that's in cassettes that give you more closure, and it's just like a lot of people aren't going to sit here and listen to this, so
or even take the time to go find it.
Exactly. So like you're missing out. I see what the masterpiece that 5 could have been. I feel like in some ways it could be up there with the other two that I hold. 1 and 3 are like, to me, the apex. Mm-hmm. As much as I love 4 for what it is and how well it did what it did, it's a step below 1 and 3. I feel it's not much. It's like it's not Metal Gear Solid 2, but it's definitely down a rung. But I feel like this game could have been like 1 and 3 to me, and it's very far removed from that, and due in part because of all the controversy and with it being unfinished, the story just lackluster on a couple different fronts. But there's also where there's bad, there's good. There's like, I love the character stuff with Quiet. I love some of the character stuff with Boss. I love some of the stuff that they did with Miller. I love the base building to an extent. It does get kind of like repetitive after a while, but
Ocelot's not bad in the game either.
Yes. And then also the coming together of Kid Liquid Snake and Psycho Mantis, and them having known each other for that long. It's like, man, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. They go back a ways. That's why that leads to another thought of, in the first Metal Gear Solid, when Liquid's in charge of the whole Foxhound group, there's only kind of one other dude that's on the same level, like, and that's that's Psycho Mantis, where Like he's right. Like they're both standing there like very imposingly, almost as equals in a way. Very interesting. But yeah, guys, go pick up your free games, man. Xbox. We were talking about Xbox there for a minute. With the live games, they have an April update starting on April 24th. It's starting to roll out. They should already be out for everybody then. But what's in this thing? The April update adds auto low latency mode for Xbox One, which will notify compatible displays when players jump into a game, causing the game to switch to low latency video mode, sometimes called game mode. Of course, that's when you have a TV that is capable of over 60 hertz refresh rate. When you have a 120 or even 240 refresh rate, they start adding in extra frames, which causes latency in the input controls. So a lot of those TVs have a game mode where it locks it in at the 60 hertz. When I went to go buy a game or a TV for my game room that's hanging up here on the wall, I purposely sought out a 60 hertz. And you should have saw the guy look on the face of the dude at Best Buy when I said what I wanted, and he was like, "I don't know if we have any up here." We had to go all the way over to the side and find one of the cheaper ones. And Mike got his 4K TV, which is hilarious. He's up here buying a 4K, and I'm like purposely like looking at a lower grade TV, because anytime you go above 60, you're just overkilling it at that point. And I wanted something that was going to serve my gaming needs, not my video watching needs. If I want to watch movies and TV shows, I'm going to have that out there in the living room for that, knowing that TV is going to be overutilized for that. Honestly, I've been playing games on that TV for years. I don't know much of a difference for the added frames, but some people might.
I notice a big difference when I watch sports. That's about it.
For me, my buddy has a 240, and when you watch movies, it's like handheld camera quality. It's crazy.
Yeah, mine's a 120.
You see, mine's a 120, and I can tell, but like when I start messing with it, it pisses my wife off. She's like, "Just leave it alone. It's fine." And I'm like, "But I want to. If I do this, I might." Yeah, I'm always messing with it. For players using AMD Radeon FreeSync and FreeSync 2 compatible displays, an option to allow variable refresh rate outputs is also included, which can help reduce input latency and minimize display stuttering. The update will also allow Xbox One S and X consoles to output games and other media at 1440p, and developers will be able to add native 1440p resolution for games displayed in Xbox One X. The April update also adds the share controller feature to Mixer. Mixer streamers can now share control of their games with their viewers. Enable the share controller option in the broadcast and capture section of the guide to enable the viewers to share control via a physical controller plugged into their PC or a virtual controller plugged into the web browser. Interesting. These streamers can also start Mixer streams from anywhere on Xbox One after the update. Players will now be able to capture screenshots and clips directly to Twitter, which will be displayed in tweets automatically instead of providing a link. A new high contrast light theme option has been added, and players can now opt to have their Xbox One change between light and dark themes automatically based on the time of day. After fan feedback, narrator functionality has been improved with new option to adjust narrator volume independently from the system volume. I assume this is the text-to-speech Cortana thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was messing around with that with the PS4 and was laughing when I made it read insanely fast. People who love listening to music, players who love listening to music, while gaming may be excited to hear that they will now be able to adjust the music and game audio balance quickly and easily from the guide. The new update also revamps the Xbox One system sound for spatial audio. In other news, players will be able soon to link their Xbox Live and Discord accounts.
So that's the only thing that I was kind of interested in from that update, because everything else that you've read so far is just Microsoft trying to catch up to where PlayStation has been.
Mm-hmm.
The UI of a Microsoft console is fucking garbage. compared to
Oh my gosh.
what Sony's has been.
They have revamped that Xbox dashboard like 3 times since the Xbox One has been out.
And it's still garbage. It still fucking sucks.
Yeah,
It's definitely better. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, they've made improvements by far. Like the one they have now. In fact, you know what? I think the one they had before this last one, I liked it even more than the one they have now. But I liked the one they have now where you can press the Xbox button and it actually brings up like the PlayStation thing, and it actually has a little thing up there where you can quickly go to certain things, and it'll show you when you have something new, like right there. That's really cool and really connects you to your messages and your friends pretty quickly. But
right.
yeah, no, they've been playing catch up. They've been playing catch up this whole generation. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, you and I have talked about it enough. They shot themselves on the foot,
dude,
right
shut
out of the
that
gate,
foot right off.
Right out of the gate.
They've been hobbling.
You guys want to buy used games? Sorry, you can't do that.
Nope. Online. Well, if you want to play online, we got offline. We got a system for you. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
You know, Don Matrick was the death of this goddamn thing. You know, Phil Spencer, I think his name is, the guy that took over. He's been trying really hard to save this thing and to save Xbox. And hats off to him. I have nothing but respect for this guy. This guy has love for the players first, and that's where it should be. The problem is that when you're on top and you think you're on top, and you have that mindset, because PlayStation did it too. PlayStation thought that they had their PlayStation 2 guys. All those guys are just going to follow them over no matter how much it was. And that basically they're making them buy a PS2 inside a PS3 was their gift to them, saying, all your games you have, just play them here on this new console. And it pushed the price up too much.
Yep.
And then the lack of any sort of games of note for launch. There was not a good launch at all for that damn game.
Yeah, I went PlayStation 2 straight to a 360, from 360 to a PlayStation 4, because I was not going to be duped by Microsoft. And, down the road I now own an Xbox.
I do too, and I've told that story here before. I swore I'd never buy one. I was so angry at Xbox.
I was adamant. I was the same way. I was adamant I was not going to purchase one. I was not going to buy a, $400+ media hub.
Oh man,
that didn't let me do shit.
I was very upset. Xbox is still trying to play catch up, and rumors are coming out already of that they have a new console in development, because of course they do. Of course, that comes in a few weeks after all these details emerged about the PS5 rumors.
Yep.
And it makes me wonder how close this is going to be, because the Xbox One X is a stark improvement. Like it is a big improvement on the original Xbox One. Like being able, and it's a big improvement on the PS4 Pro. Like it's very like, if this thing, the Xbox One X is what the damn Xbox One should have been, really, out of the gate, where it's 4K capable and boom, right out of the gate. But it makes me wonder, since that just came out now, like a year and a half ago, are we looking at a brand new generation of Xbox in 2019 already? Or are we looking at, like, because if you do that, are you looking at like a Sega thing where it's like Sega's like 32X is the next generation console, just put it into your existing Genesis, and then 5 months later Saturn is the next generation console, we have to buy a whole new thing, and they're like, what about the 32X? Like, you just shut up about that. The difference is, of course, it's all Xbox One family. 32X is a whole new system. My thing is that, is it too soon where you're trying to convince people to, buy all of this stuff? Or is it, the thing is that they were working so hard to try and make that their update even better, that they've kind of made it more powerful. So then, like, is the next iteration is going to be more powerful? As Xbox, are you going to try and go, we're going to coast on this? Or since you're behind, are you going to try and get out there right when they do? because
I think it's ultimately about timing. They need to, if they're gonna do, we'll just call it the Xbox 2 for now. If they're gonna do the Xbox 2, they need to take everything that the X is now, legitimately listen to what the hell we have to say as fans and as consumers, and try and get that console out with no hardware issues, no software issues. Get that console out bug-free within 2 months of Sony, I would say. But nail the fucking launch titles. Give me a reason to justify spending, we'll say $550, because there's no reason in my mind that you would think that it would be cheaper than the X.
Yeah, right.
That console is already expensive because of what it has inside of it. There is no reason that I could think that they would come in at a lower price point. They always come down in price because things become more efficient and cheaper to manufacture and so on and so forth. But you really need to justify spending the money. And a 4K media hub is not justification for me to buy an Xbox 2.
If I'm Microsoft, I know that them rushing the gun on the Xbox 360 helped them basically win that generation. Be cheaper, it cost them. I mean, they won the generation in numbers. They didn't win it in profit.
Right.
Let's put it that way. No, they lost way too much. They lost their asses on that Red Ring of Death. That cost them over $1 billion. They never got that back. If I'm them, I'm gonna wait. If the rumors are true and PlayStation 5 is gonna launch in 2019, I'm not gonna rush it. Number one, like as you said, launch. I want Halo 6 for that launch. I want it ready to go. I want it aimed because that's what you launched the OG Xbox with.
That's a slippery slope, though, with as bad as Halo 5 was. There's already so much hate for Halo 4. Halo 5 was even worse of a game than Halo 4 was. People are starting to get a bad taste in their mouth with Halo just as much as they are with Destiny.
But it's their bread and butter. Master Chief is their Mario, and they are lucky enough to have a mascot. And if there is a mascot if there ever is one, it's definitely him. So if I'm Microsoft, I'm looking at, I want Halo 6.
Why not Gears, the second game in the new Gears trilogy?
You could, it all depends. But I'm going to if I'm Microsoft, I'm going to let PlayStation go first. Get them out there at least 6 months. Because one, if they're launching, they're going to do it with their exclusives that I can't get. And then any third-party game that's going to come out for that console is going to come out for the previous generation, which my Xbox One X can easily run better than their version of the older one.
Okay.
So it's going to be able to hang with their new one more than that.
That makes sense.
Yes, we're still maybe a step behind, but let them come out at their specs, and then let the people who are going to buy that spend their money, and then meanwhile we're hyping them up for what we're doing, and it's going to be better. But we're not going to release it at the same time because we don't want everybody to, if you want a PlayStation, go buy it. But the thing is that in 6 months, if you got the money, go buy ours too, or better yet, just save your money, get the better one here. We're going to give you all these reasons to buy it.
Okay.
That's what I would do, because if you're rushing it out, then you run the risk of that backfiring. And it's
repeating the 360 mistakes.
Well, not only that, but Sony's always been better at making the hardware, for sure. In Microsoft, they're a software company. When's the last time you bought a Microsoft computer?
Never.
Other than the Surface, like they make the Surface.
Yes,
they actually make the Surface. So, And that's just been more in the last 5 years. Like you look back into the 90s, what Microsoft computers were you on? You were on Dell. You were on.
We always bought HP computers.
HP, Compaq, Gateway, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Acer. That's what this laptop is. They make the hardware. Microsoft supplies the software. That's the way it's always been. So, yeah, don't rush this shit. Get it. Let Sony go out there and let them say we're doing this, and then you come in just like you did with the X and go, we're going better, we're going bigger, we're going badder.
I like that idea.
We're gonna have the games. We're gonna have always third party. We're gonna have the new Call of Duty if you want to play. We're gonna have Halo. We're gonna have Gears. We're gonna have Forza. We're gonna have Fable. And then that's another thing. Start looking at some of these. Like if I were them, I would have bought IO Interactive. I know that they partner. I know that Square let them go. And then they partnered with WB or whatever. But I would have bought them. Hitman, boom, Xbox exclusive from now on. That's instant number one.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is like not that game is going to be able to stand up with some of these other big timers, but what I mean is instant. Like that's a seller. People buy Hitman. So yeah, going to be interesting. On the other side of the aisle, though, there's a major Switch exploit that could lead to some piracy. Basically, the NVIDIA Integra chip there's been an exploit discovered that could turn the device into pretty much a pirate machine, a emulator machine. In order to make the public and the Switch hardware manufacturers aware of the exploit, thus keeping it out of the realm of those who want to use it for nefarious reasons. It was first made public by hardware hacker Kate Temkin and others that reswitched, a website dedicated to this website's dedicated to the hacking of the Nintendo's console to allow homebrew software. As Temkin describes, I can't even know if I can say this. The Fusi Gale exploit is backed into the read-only memory of the NVIDIA Tegra X1 used into the Switch, and therefore can't be patched with software update. In order to access the exploit, you need to put your Switch into recovery mode using a piece of wire to execute extra data during boot time. Temkin has outlined the exploit in plain language FAQ for those less technically minded, which is me. I'm not like I would not know how to do this crap at all. Theoretically, it means you could you run all sorts of different emulators on your Switch. You can also open the doors for piracy. Nintendo and NVIDIA could fix this from a hardware level in the future, but right now, the technical ability, it'll work with every existing Switch that is on the market at times. So, potentially some bad news out there. I feel like they could definitely recover from this, but it does seem pretty like complex to do it. Like you and me are probably not going to sit here and figure this stuff out.
No.
Like I don't care that much. I actually enjoy buying my games. That's one reason why I have a game collection and not a retro Pi. I've actually thought about getting a Raspberry Pi for my living room purposes. I'll just sit out here and I'll play for a little while out here. That way I don't have to go back in the back.
Right.
But I'm like, do I want to spend the money on a good Raspberry Pi just to do that? I don't know. Man. Cool. That's cool for you guys. If you want to go get a Switch, that way you can hack the damn thing and get GameCube and Wii stuff running on it. That's cool. I mean, I wish that was coming sooner. I definitely know that GameCube games and Wii games can run on it because there is an NVIDIA Shield product in China that has those games running on it. That was a deal that probably Nintendo made when they partnered them with the NVIDIA chip for the Switch. They gave them that for their system over there. So we know it's possible. It's just not happening yet on the Switch. And apparently we're going to find out more about their online mode, their online stuff a whole year and a half later. Next month, probably at E3. There's the only thing else that I had for this week's episode was Bethesda's big game.
As far as theories for Bethesda's big game?
Well, there are rumors that they're going to debut it at their E3 this year, and that it's a game. They own the rights to the name of a game called Starfield.
Mm-hmm. They originally trademarked that game or that name in 2011. They renewed the trademark in 2013. This is one that I've been kind of keeping an eye on for about the last month because I am one of the fans of Bethesda that loved Fallout 3, that played the hell out of New Vegas, even though that's not Bethesda, you know.
Sure.
But we got New Vegas because Bethesda did Fallout 3. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it the way that we got it. So, and then, obviously, you know, Oblivion. Played the hell out of Oblivion. I did not play as much Skyrim as most of my friends. I played a lot of it. But I am very critical of Skyrim, especially now that we make a remastered version of it about every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And, like a lot of people, I don't want to buy that damn game anymore. You know, to me, it's stale. You know, I listened to your spiel on JIC this week about getting sucked into Skyrim, and I'm glad because it deserves it. But from somebody that wasn't a late bloomer that got sucked into it the first go around, it's no different. There's nothing fresh. The modding thing doesn't do anything for me. It's the same way with Fallout 4. I am very critical of Fallout 4. I thought personally, and I didn't play any of the DLC because I didn't want to. That game was very, very disappointing. Bethesda is very good at making open world games that give you the freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want, and, you know, for lack of a better description, do whatever you want. But the stories in their games just keep getting weaker. And I'm a very story-driven gamer. I want to escape my reality and dive into the reality of somewhere else, you know.
What I will say about Fallout 4 and even Skyrim, from what I've noticed at this point, is that like the main story quest, while not the greatest, what they have successfully done is make a really immersive world that has stuff going on in it.
I wouldn't disagree with that a bit, and don't mistake me for saying that Skyrim and Fallout 4 are terrible games, because they're not. You know, I played a lot of Fallout 4 before I finally had enough of it. But Starfield, everything that I've read is the theories from fans is that this is going to be a Fallout / Skyrim level of immersiveness in an open world, but this is all space exploration and, you know, sci-fi, and I really dig all that, you know, but I'm worried about it because I've heard talk about procedurally generated world, and that instantly puts a bad taste in my mouth from No Man's Sky. And it was a big contributor on killing our favorite game franchise in Mass Effect.
Yes.
You know, that's what hurt their development cycle because they tried for so long to nail the procedurally generated shit down, and they just couldn't do it. I'm excited. I as much as I personally believe that we are going to get a Starfield reveal at E3, as much as I believe that, I've also heard a lot of talk about it just being a mobile game, kind of like Fallout Shelter, and I don't believe that rumor as much as I believe that it's going to get a full game is going to get unveiled, because Todd Howard and Bethesda have said multiple times they want to step out of the Fallout Elder Scrolls,
Yeah,
just
sure.
back and forth. They wanna get involved in some new IPs and do some new stuff while still staying true to their baby, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And with the rumors of them doing a Game of Thrones game, I could very easily see them saying, "Hey, this holiday season, buy our Game of Thrones game." And then spring of next year, here's this new game that we've been working on since 2011.
Right. Well, because they could take their current engine, their current like essentially with Game of Thrones, you'd be buying Skyrim 5,
Correct.
but it's in a Game of Thrones skin,
Mm-hmm.
so it's all new now.
Right.
But now instead of wandering through Skyrim again, now you're wandering through Westeros.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it's like, well, I'll buy that. And of course you would.
The other thing that I was thinking, maybe Bethesda has set the precedent that they are going from announcement to release very quickly.
Yep.
And I see them continuing that trend.
Same.
They could very easily say, "Hey, there's this new game called Starfield. It's coming out in a couple months. Check it out this fall." And then, hey, a bonus, right around the time of the final season of Game of Thrones, here's our Game of Thrones game that we've been hinting at for a little bit. If you release a Game of Thrones video game that's as immersive and pretty, because Skyrim was a very pretty game,
Yeah.
at the time, and it's especially after it's been remastered, I feel like that it's aged well. Because you think back, that game came out in 2011, right?
Yeah.
11.
Yep.
It's aged very well for what it is. So why would you, as a gamer, especially a teenage gamer, not want to play a video game in Westeros while you're watching the final season of Game of Thrones happen at the same time?
Exactly.
So I could see that be a big sales driver if they did it that way.
You know what I just realized?
What's that?
When you brought up the Game of Thrones thing, we are within when that starts airing, we are within less than a month time going to get the last episode of Game of Thrones, and then the next Avengers chapter. There's gonna be a lot to talk about, a lot to do.
Yep.
And you know what? I've heard the rumor that Starfield is probably going to get a companion app, kind of like Fallout Shelter. So maybe that's kind of where that's coming from. I don't know how far along they are on a Game of Thrones thing. They're keeping it very quiet. I mean, and they've been keeping everything quiet on about Starfield as well.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor was they were going to reveal it last year, and they didn't.
Well, and that people really bought into that rumor, especially while their conference was going on. Because if you watch the video of their conference, everything is space themed. The shit they've got going on in the background. They've got rockets flying across the sky. Everything that I've read is maybe they planned on announcing it, and then somebody high up in Bethesda is like, "Wait, we need more time. Wait, don't,
right.
Time out, abort." So,
and very well. I mean, if they want to do this short, quick announcement release thing, you want to make sure you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were going to do that last year, then they weren't going to do that kind of a release. They just weren't going to be. There's no way. They want to make sure that this game is in the bag because this is a new IP.
Correct.
This crew. They've made some awesome games. Let's see what they can do in this thing. And with the loss of Mass Effect, I'm kind of excited just to see what they're going to do because I know that this is a crew that can make immersive worlds, make them for me, BioWare and Bethesda have been the two groups that have made the most interesting immersive worlds to get into for you to go look up lore and look up all this crap. I want to see what kind of stuff that this crew could do in that setting.
Well, and don't get me wrong, when I complained about Bethesda's story, they have all the ability in the world. They have all the talent in the world to deliver us a very well-written story because they do it in the side quests.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is a lot of very well put together quests and story arcs in Fallout and Oblivion and all those games. If they could just put a little bit more time and effort into driving the main road home, then I see it nailing it. You know,
Yeah.
especially, you know, you touched on it, the hole that's left in all of our hearts from BioWare and Mass Effect. You know, we need that, especially with Anthem coming out next year. Not everybody's excited about that because of what the taste that we have left in our mouth from games like Destiny, and then how Andromeda was received. You know, give us a little bit of hope for the sci-fi genre outside of Halo and Destiny. Give us something new and fresh.
Another thing for me in Anthem is, you know, after being told, well, you can play through it all by yourself, you know, as a story, that's cool, but it's like, I don't even know how excited I am for what is this game? What am I doing? What is the premise here? And for that, it's like, I still don't know, you know, so I don't know. We'll see. We will definitely see. We have E3 in like less than a month, a month of time here almost, by time this airs. So
I see this E3 being the biggest, if not one of the biggest E3s of probably the last 4 or 5 years.
It has because number one, there's so much that we don't know about what's going on with Xbox, because it really seems like, what the hell are they doing? You know, there's a lot going on in the PlayStation camp, whether it's stuff that just come out with God of War and Detroit, or, you know, or going to come out with Spider-Man, Last of Us. There's a lot to look forward to. So, and then of course Nintendo's killing it with the Switch and everything that they're doing. Like, are they going to do Metroid,
Selling
Pokemon,
expensive cardboard?
You know what? God damn it! Leave it to Nintendo.
If there's somebody out there that can sell expensive cardboard, it's fucking Nintendo, man.
Of course. I think Cameron said is like, so someone learned how to hack the cardboard. I'm like, yep, somebody got it, man.
Yep,
you got this thing figured out. But I'm looking forward to it. We're probably on the next episode really going to dive into almost maybe like I don't know. I got to look at the schedule to see where we're at. We're here, and we'll probably have another episode before E3 actually happens. But we're going to be diving into it to really like see.
Is it starting the end of June this year or the beginning of June this year?
You know, I actually don't know. Let's look it up.
Because I remember there for a couple of years, I felt like it was like the first or second week of June, and then all of a sudden we transitioned to the end of June.
June 12th.
Okay. So we're towards the beginning then.
So June 12th. So, yeah. So, of course, we got this episode. We got that episode. Yeah, so we'll have 2 more. And then, of course, the... No, that was a timer out there somewhere. Heard my wife's timer go off. That's probably her timer to go to bed. So, yeah, we're gonna have 2 or 3 episodes maybe until then, but we're definitely gonna be looking at like each company and each developer, each major conference, and figuring out what's gonna be had here. Because of course we got the ones that are we're gonna see Anthem. EA is gonna have this big Anthem thing. You know we're gonna see Last of Us 2 that already got announced. So how much of that are we gonna see? I feel like we're gonna get a trailer and we're gonna get a release window. I don't know I don't know of a hard date, but I think we're definitely gonna get like spring 2019.
I could see that.
And then them saying, well, we're going to wait and then we're going to dial it down maybe at PSX. We kind of like God of War, how we didn't have a date, and they didn't want to give us a date. Is it going to, are they going to be able to make it before April? Then if they can, then they'll announce it. And then if we're not, we're looking at April, May, June, kind of like the first round for Last of Us. How that came out.
You've got CD Projekt Red.
Yes.
That they've they're taking a break officially from the Witcher series now, and with Cyberpunk, that's not an IP that they created. It's just an IP that they got permission, that people for decades have been trying to get permission to tackle that world, and the creator of Cyberpunk met with CD Projekt Red and really liked what kind of the gospel that they preached, and said, yeah, let's do it. And he's been involved during the whole project, as far as what I've read and seen. And that's a game that we need more information on.
Absolutely.
Because since that last trailer, fans of the studio have been waiting and waiting and waiting with no information. We've all been patient, and it was confirmed that they're going to have a big conference this year. So let's deliver on what we've been being patient from, or been patient for.
Absolutely. Of course, we're looking for updates on like the Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get an update on Shenmue 3,
Kingdom Hearts.
Sega just announced Shenmue 1 and 2 coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Really?
Yeah. So they're putting that out there. It's gonna be like $30 for both games.
That's not bad.
Physical copy. Hell no, I'm gonna get that for my collection. I got both Shenmues. All I ask is that, for this third entry, you got to have the same shitty ass voice acting and the same kind of clunky controls and make me feel at home, man. That's all I ask for. But I think that's all that I got for this week here, guys. Thank you, Tyler, once again for joining me and
no problem.
Wrapping on some games. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. We thank you for joining us. And thank you for checking out all the episodes on this feed here. Of course, you can check us out on your favorite podcast platform if this is your first time. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. Just find us, search Game Addicts Podcast. We're on social media, Game Addicts Podcast, or Game Addicts Play in various places. Of course, you can check out some of the video content on the YouTubes. I've kind of suspended that for a little bit until we can get streaming. But it will be happening again once we start that. So until next time, I've been Brando.
I've been Tyler.
Game on, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in a few weeks. And let's go play some God of War.